The California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, is an environmental and public health bill of rights for all Californians. Now, CEQA is under attack in the state legislature by corporate polluters and unprincipled developers. This is one story about how CEQA works to protect the public interest. Katie Taylor has lived here for 54 years.
My name is Katie. I live in Southeast Fresno. This is the property that I live at. And this is the Amazon building that was built across the street that we had no idea was going to be built in our community.
This is South Fresno, California. It has some of the worst health outcomes in the state and ranks highest in pollution burden. Katie's neighborhood ranks among the worst in the state for air pollution, drinking water contamination, pesticides, and hazardous waste.
We are sitting right now in a cancer cluster.
3 of my family members had passed away from cancer: my husband, my son, and my daughter.
So every house on this block has lost folks to cancer.
Local residents believed the now closed Orange Avenue landfill, known as The Hill, has polluted the groundwater.
Years ago, dump sites were not regulated. I remember going there with my dad when I was a kid. You could dump whatever you wanted to. So there really is no way of telling what was dumped there.
One of my sons worked for a water softening company, and he did a test on my water at the time, and he said it was off the chart. So it was just that bad.
Residents in this neighborhood rely on shallow wells, many of which have dried up in recent years, exacerbated by the development of large distribution centers.
I have a water tank in my backyard. Because the water table has dropped, you can't drink the water. You have to buy bottled water, but you can use it to bathe with.
And you can see behind me how loose the dirt and the dust is out here. This is turning into a dust bowl. Now, if you happen to have, like my wife and one of my grandsons have asthma, that is continuously a problem and it's getting worse every year.
This is real data that is telling us this is an overburdened area.
Starting in 2015, the city of Fresno worked to attract 2 large distribution warehouses to the neighborhood, Ulta Beauty and Amazon. The city didn't inform local residents.
The traffic, the noise, the lighting at night, and it shines into my house, the pollution that comes with all of this.
There's an elementary school right down the street. Now you have kids that live a half a mile away. They can't walk to school for safety reasons, strictly for safety reasons.
Then in late 2017, the city began processing an application for a brand new 2.1 million square foot warehouse complex across from Amazon and Katie's neighborhood. To put it into perspective, the proposed square footage was the size of 20 Home Depots. Local community advocates from the Leadership Counsel for Justice and Accountability heard about the new proposed warehouse and were concerned about even more potential impacts on local residents.
We saw a news article about this potential very large warehouse complex going forward with a very minimal level of environmental review. Me and my coworker Erica decided to do door-to-door outreach and ask if residents had heard about the project. And one of the first stores that we knocked on was Katie Taylor's store.
And then we eventually started having meetings at my house and inviting whoever of the neighbors that wanted to come.
Once we informed her and other residents that, if you do have concerns about the project, there is a law, CEQA.
CEQA allows you to look at what those environmental impacts are actually going to be on the community that is already here.
I didn't know that we had a right to give an opinion about things that were being put in our community.
CEQA helps protect the basic right of all people to live, work, go to school, and play in a healthy, accessible, and clean environment.
CEQA is frequently the only or the principal law that provides protections for disadvantaged communities that we work with in the face of projects that are very likely to have a range of harmful impacts on communities.
Residents organized as South Central Neighbors United, They submitted comments and spoke to the Planning Commission about the likely impacts of the proposed warehouse complex, including 6,200 daily truck trips through their neighborhood. Their concerns were ignored.
And then the city council had a hearing, and so residents turned out again and they spoke up, gave their story. They gave incredibly compelling testimony.
My concern is not only the traffic and the pollution, but also the environmental side of it all. I want to be ensured that the land and soil is properly tested before it starts getting moved around.
I have concerns, noise pollution, air pollution. We have people in my family that have breathing problems.
Jobs cannot heal long-term illnesses, especially cancer, and I know that could not happen. A job is not going to heal cancer, which many people have already died in this community.
The nice and quiet countryside that I live in all my life is not so country anymore, and all I hear now is machines and bulldozers. When does it all end?
The council did not take the opportunity to listen to residents.
At one point, the mayor said, oh, it's just a few houses out there. It's like they don't value us.
There is a neighborhood here. We might think of it as an area where people don't live.
We're being neglected. We're humans. We breathe the air, and I've been there over 50 years. My family's been over there 50 years.
And even one of the council members ridiculed organizations and residents for speaking up.
The Leadership Counsel for Justice and Accountability, which really, to me, those are poverty pimps. That organization's poverty pimps.
Public agencies have to answer to community, have to answer to the citizens.
Katie Taylor and South Central Neighbors United didn't give up.
What CEQA did is it gave residents the power to enforce their rights through court. Residents chose to file a lawsuit in Fresno County Superior Court to challenge the city's approval of the project.
Yesterday, Caglia Environmental scrapped its plans for the 2 million square foot project slated for Central and Orange Avenues.
The city ultimately and the developer agreed to rescind the permits for the project, and the project didn't go forward.
We're constantly working to better ourselves in our community so that we can have a neighborhood that our children can feel safe in.
CEQA provided an incredibly powerful tool for residents here to halt a massive project because the city did not observe its requirements to study and mitigate environmental impacts.
We want to fight for our community and for all other communities that don't have a voice.
The California Environmental Quality Act is under relentless attacks in the state legislature by special interests. We need a strong CEQA now more than ever. Please help protect CEQA and take action at CEQAworks.org.